All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, I already forgot it.
You said, what are we doing?
Hello, Peekers. Welcome back. Hello, Peekers. Welcome back. Okay. It's like, what is it? I
You're
don't
like,
have the script. Hello, Peekers, and welcome back to the Plot Peak Podcast. I'm Miranda.
and I'm Mackenzie, and this is your one-shop stop for storytelling. It's all right,
This
continue.
is
Storytelling, tea spilling, and to keep up on all the latest book talk drama you've been missing out on.
Woo, we're going off script, baby.
Yeah, normally, even though we've said that approximately 200 times, we cannot remember it unless it's right in front of us,
It's
apparently.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
We have the
Creatures of
memory
habit.
recall of, I guess, a toddler. So
That's actually very accurate for me.
it's okay.
Hmm
We're just growth.
But yeah, guys, we are switching some things up. So we obviously have been kind of spotty lately. No offense to you guys. It was just, Throne of Glass is a heavy book. It is a lot of stuff to go through. And as much as I do want to share it, we still will probably continue it since we're like only halfway through it. But it is a lot to go through and write up. So we wanted to switch some things up and just kind of chit chat with you guys about other books, other personal stories that we have, and just have fun with it.
Yeah, this is your first episode of a revamp. We're not going to stop what we were doing before, but we're just going to switch up some of our content. And if you are listening to this and you hate it, um
Eat a bag
well,
of dicks.
yeah, maybe you should leave. So, you don't have to be
There's
listening.
the door.
Well, actually, please stay. But we would love some feedback. Do you like what we're doing now? Like, as far as the typical episode style that we've been doing, does it get boring? Does it get repetitive? We're just looking to spice things up a little bit. We want to try some new things. So, this is going to be a kind of fun episode where maybe we'll talk a little bit more about ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's what we were talking about yesterday. We were just like, we want people to still know who we are. We want to be
Mhm.
able to talk through it and also talk about the thing that is building the community, which is books and crazy stories. And we have some fun things to talk about today. I just finished reading Praise, which was a book that Mackenzie recommended to me, and it was very, very taboo. So there's lots of stuff to go in there, and I just know that we'll have good side conversations related to the topic of this book.
Yeah, it is so taboo. It's probably the first, like, spicy taboo book that I've read, like, with a more I guess taboo is the word I'm looking for, but, like, a more, like, salacious, which is interesting because that's another title of the book, but, like, a more salacious storyline. It's not just like a basic enemies to lovers or, kind of fantasy, but this one was lots of drama, lots
How
of
did
tea.
you how'd you come across it? Did somebody else recommend it to you, or was it, like, something you just saw?
It was the book that we were reading for a book club that I'm in, where we
Oh,
read, like, different kinds of smutty books and,
yeah.
discuss on those. So I think that was maybe the first or one of the first of the books that I had read since I joined that book club, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm going full force. This is
They
quite
said,
the
"We're
book."
not playing around. We are not playing around. We know smut."
No, I mean, it was good. Some people didn't like it very much, though. I have another
Hmm.
coworker that's reading it right now, and she said that it's so, like, taboo. She said it's almost cringy. So she said sometimes she's reading it and she's like, like, she's, like, clamming up, or she's listening to an audiobook and she's like, "I need to turn the volume down. This is"
Yeah.
she's like,
Does she Was this, like, the first kind of smut that she's read, or was it just this one specifically?
No, she's read other smutty books, but I think I maybe our smut levels are different because I mean, I loved this book. I thought it was really fun, really progressive, very
Yeah.
kinky, like
Mhm.
lots of fun kinks and stuff in it. But maybe we just like different kinds of smut.
Yeah. I'll give you guys the basic rundown so that way you guys understand what we're talking about. So, this is, like we said, a smutty book. And the premise is basically there's a sexy zaddy who owns an elite sex club. And it's all meant for like the kink community and sex positive people. His estranged son's ex girlfriend had come to his house to pick up a check for her like deposit or something like that. And he mistook her as a sub like interviewee, I guess is how I should say it. I don't know.
Yeah, his friend Garrett, the rich hot daddy, his name's Emerson. His friend had been trying to interview girls to be Emerson's new subs. And so he was thinking that Garrett sent another girl to his house. So when Charlie, the son's ex-girlfriend, knocks on his door, he's like, "Come on in." And he like invites her in thinking she's a sub, and she's like waiting, she's going to ask him to get money from for the
Yes.
ex or whatever. And he's like, "Kneel." And she does. She gets on her knees and kneels for him. And then she's like, "Hi, I'm actually here to get money for your son for the other part of the rent. I was dating him." And he's like, "Oh
Oh god,
no." Oh, and
that
he's
is
like, "Why
so
did you
cringe.
kneel? Why did you
Oh
get on
god.
your knees?"
She's like, "I'm scared. I'm just a scared little girl." Honestly, I would be scared too because she hadn't met him before. So, like, they had never seen each other. His son was estranged from him, so they never really like interacted with that side of the family. So she was like, I don't know what to expect. And then, yeah, like you said, she got in there and they were like, you need to be on your knees. And she was like, this is so weird. Why is he talking to me like this? Like he was just being so demeaning almost. And she's like, also am I a little bit turned on about this?
She's like, "Should I get on my knees?" "Mm, okay, fine. I will."
She's like, "I'll do it, but not because you told me to, because I want to. I'm doing it for myself." "Sure, hun."
And the tea is while she's on her knees, just like kind of not anything sexual at this point, just like a very submissive position. He comes over and like in his like POV thinking, he's like, "Wow, like she might be exactly what I'm looking for." Like she is very demure, very
Very he
cutesy.
I highlighted that in the book. He said very demure.
Oh gosh. And but he's like, "Actually, she might be my cup of tea." And so he comes over and he like strokes her cheek and or something, and he's like, "You did such a good job." Or like he said something along the lines of like giving her praise, and that's like his kink. And that's when it kind of clicks for her. She's like, "Ooh, I loved that he just like complimented me, praised me." And she was like, "That just turned me on." And then the kind of realization of what's
Yeah,
happening. So that like sets the scene, the stage of the
yeah.
book, like
That's
very,
how they met.
yeah, very
Very
uncomfortable.
Yeah, they didn't mean to. Oh, no. But then, yeah, so after that meeting though, she told him what she was here for. He was like, "Oh my gosh, how much money do you need?" And like he just writes a check and tells her to go. And then he leaves his number down there because she told him that she needs money for like a job or something, or like an event that she wants to take her sister to. And so she goes home and she's just thinking about it. She's like, I need a better paying job. This guy's loaded. And I kind of didn't hate what was going on. And like, it seems like a fun thing to do, like just dress up, look cute. And so she calls him back and he's like, yeah, I'll let you be my secretary. And then she finds out what he does. And that's when she's like, oh, am I supposed to be acting like that? And she's like really starting to lean into this sex club vibe.
Yeah, and it like when she comes, he basically is like, "No, I mean, you're going to be the secretary. It's going to be mostly in my like office space. We're not going to be doing a lot with the sex club. You'll just be handling like invoices and stuff like that." But in her head, she's like, "Well, I'm going to have to go full force into this. I want to know exactly what this about." And she's like, "And I'm going to wear an outfit to prove it on my first day." Miranda, do you want to describe the outfit that she wore on her first day?
It was very mindful. She did her research, like you said. She deep dived the heck out of this stuff. So she was like, I gotta be both sexy but elegant at the same time. She has like a black pencil skirt with a sheer blouse on, and she's got a lacy black bra underneath. That is very see-through. Like it's sheer, basically see-through. Okay. So you can see her bra, her titties, okay? And she knows she looks good. She's a dime piece. So she gets in there and she sees the way that he looks at her. And he is very obviously holding back, not touching her. Like he's like, oh, and it switches POVs a lot. In his POV, he's like, geez, Louise, I cannot do this. Like
Jeez Louise.
I already accidentally like sexually harassed her when she was coming in for her money for her rent. And now I want to fuck her.
I mean, I feel like his first mistake was offering her a job or, like, agreeing to let her work. If he really wanted to stay away, I mean, come on. Come on. He
Well,
knew
he did it under the ruse of, "I'm only gonna try to offer her back or, like, offer her to come here so that way maybe I can set him and my son her and my son up, and they can rekindle, and then I'll be back in his life again." I think that's why he did it.
I think so.
And on that note, I was gonna say, I had something written down. I was like, unless the dad that was, like, super rich like this zaddy was and really, really hot, I do not think that I would reconsider calling that man back or be like going back to that house. I'd be scared. I'd be like, "What just happened over here?" But if he was rich
Yeah.
and he was hot and I didn't hate it, I'm gonna be like, "Okay, sure."
I was gonna say, if any of those situations had changed, had one variable off, like if he wasn't hot, he was ugly or creepy. If he wasn't rich, he was just like this random poor guy, but was
Yeah,
kind of hot. If
yeah.
any of those situations had changed, this would be a completely different storyline. It would be a sexual harassment suit. He's
Mhm.
just lucky that
It's
he's
true.
really hot and he's got a little riz. Very attractive,
Yeah. What can you say? He's got it all.
powerful.
Oh, very alpha energy, very dom energy, some would say,
Yeah. I mean, I
perhaps.
I think I would be
I
okay
like
with
it too.
it.
As long as he treats me good like he does, like, giving me money giving me money, praise, I think I'd be totally fine doing whatever the fuck he told me to do. I'd be like, "Okay, yeah,
Yes.
I'll do anything.
Yes, daddy.
Yes, daddy." T. Okay. So I really love Charlotte, aka Charlie. She's the main character. And first of all, I want to say I like this book because it does represent the kink and sex positive community, which is something that is so taboo in our everyday life. So I loved reading a book about sex positivity and or like kink community and stuff like that. Secondly, this girl is me because whenever she came in for the job, she deep dived on what is it to be BDSM, kink, all that good stuff. She gets into this lifestyle and she's like, maybe I do want to be a sub. And so they kind of do like a non-sexual dom sub relationship, her and Emerson. And she is doing great, doing her thing, but she gets to the sex club one day and there's this like sex toy sell person and it was Emerson's ex sub who came in, and Emerson and her, or Emerson and Charlotte. I'm like, wait a minute.
Emerson
Have you ever had to tell a story oh, and then
I notice when I'm talking and I start not realizing where I'm gonna go next, I start breathing really heavily. I go like, and it's like almost like I'm about to start crying.
you're like panicking. You're like, can't let the silence go on.
And then if I make eye contact with you and your face looks even slightly off, like you can tell that I'm faltering, I'm like, it's over. And then
That's
I'm
me. That's half the reason why I had to write scripts for the stories because I was like, I can't look at Mackenzie if I don't know where I'm going and tell this whole story. Like, I have to know exactly what I'm gonna say.
No, I'm sorry if I've made you feel that way. I'm so
No, no,
sorry.
no. It's okay. It's fine. I think it's just an internal fear. Anyways, okay. I think that was funny too. We should leave that in
Yeah.
personally. I think that is funny personally. Okay,
Personally.
anyways, back to the topic of Charlotte. Her sub name is Charlotte. So that's what Emerson calls her. So she meets his ex sub, and Emerson is like, greet her. And they have this dynamic, like Emerson and Charlotte, where they are playing dom sub one day and then they're normal people the next day. So today they were not in that dynamic. And he commanded her to say hello. And she was like, no, fuck that bitch. I know why she's looking at him. And she's like, who is this lady? Like, she was so jealous and she was being a brat on purpose. And I was just like, that would be me personally. Like, I feel like I'd be like, no. I'd be like,
I
hey,
won't
that's
meet
what
her.
she said, hi. Oh, she was being so sassy.
I kinda love that though. I would do the exact same thing, I think. I would try to be nice, but I'd be like, "Hi." Hmm.
No, that's literally you know what that just reminded me of?
What?
Um, a specific classmate
Oh
and
god, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. As soon as I saw your face, I was like, "She's about to bring up this person." We can't say the name, but
No, we
turns out
can't.
I'm not very good at faking being nice if I don't like someone, and I am usually a very nice person, but I just had so many irrational hatreds for this person, and Miranda said she would look at me from, like, across the room or anything all the time, and I just would have the bitchiest face, or I'd be like, like, when I
Or
was
she
laughing at
you would
something.
say, like, some side comment after she would
Oh,
say something, you'd be like, "Thank you so much.
oh
Thank you."
god, I'm a
You'd do
mean
something like
girl. I never
it
meant to
was
be
so
like
no,
that.
you were doing what everybody else was thinking, so that's fair.
I There haven't been many people that I've disliked as much as,
Nursing s
that
I feel like
individual.
nursing school, there's always a few people in there that are just I know that there's peakers out here who are nurses, and they know a classmate like what we're talking about. They're that nursing
Just
student, you know?
intentionally made everyone else's life harder or more annoying.
Right.
But maybe not intentionally, but it felt
You know
intentional.
what else it could have been? I don't think our frontal lobes were completely developed,
We
so
were
we probably just
babies.
had unrationalized
I was even
aggression.
more underdeveloped because I'm a year younger than you and pretty much everyone else in there, so I was really just a baby.
But you're also kinda like a baby genius.
Thank you
She's
so
younger than
much.
all of us and way smarter than all of us. It's
No,
crazy. No, we
no.
would all be failing the test and we'd be like, "What'd you get? 30? Oh, dang. What'd you get? 40?" And then we'd go to Mackenzie and she'd be like standing so shy and innocent in the corner. We'd be like, "What'd you get?" And you're like, 94.
No, no, no. It was
We're like,
never that dramatic, but I would try not to ask people afterward because people would
yeah.
come out looking really stressed and angry, and I was like, "Oof, I'm not gonna I
Yeah.
can't ask anybody what's going on. They seem too stressed."
That's so
But I
funny.
also did not have good habits. I would, like, stay up the entire night
No,
before a test and study,
well,
and
that's the thing too. It's like I would spend hours trying to read and study and rewrite everything. Makes 40s on my test, and I'm like, "Excellent." I had the biggest imposter syndrome. I'm like, "I am trying so hard."
No, I think
Kenzie's like, I did it."
no, no. Maybe you have more, like, common sense. You're more street
I
smart
am
than me.
yeah, I think that's what it is.
100%.
Hundo.
You've actually taught me everything that I know about being street smart.
Not the signal.
Just kidding.
That was sick. I did
I'm gonna
teach her
cut that
that.
out.
Got it.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, so here's where I was going with that. So the sex lady, she was selling toys, and one of the toys was a remote vibrator. And so one of Emerson's coworkers was like, "Hey, Charlotte, you should go put this in and let's see how it works." She does it, and Emerson finds out that somebody convinced her to do that. And he's like, "Oh, so you think that's funny?" Angie had just misbehaved and was like being bratty to his ex sub. So he's like, "You know what? Leave that in. I'll take that remote and we are going to lunch." And he goes, takes her to this like nice ass restaurant. And she just knows like he's got something up his sleeve. And they have like a cordial lunch. And then that's where he starts punishing her. The punishment is she can't make a scene. And that vibrator is on her clit and also in her punani on her G spot.
And they're, like, at
And
a restaurant, like a
a
very
nice,
nice sit down.
quaint, yeah. And so I was just thinking, I was like, I don't even know how I would be able to sit there. I don't know how I'd be able to sit there with that much stimulation. And he was
No.
not like just doing little bits here and there. He left it on and it was on
Mhm.
high vibrations.
There's no
I would
way.
cry.
I would have to leave. I would get up and leave. I think it might make me mad, actually,
No,
if they were
yeah.
sitting there and being like, "Don't make a sound. Don't react." I would be
But
like,
see, that's where the
"I'll hit
sub
you."
thing comes in, is because like that's the dynamic, and that's where it's like you got to trust that your dom is doing this to punish you for a behavior in your dynamic, so that way you don't do that again. Otherwise, you'll get punished again.
Do you think you
And
could be a sub?
it would be really hard. Me and Colby have actually. You guys are learning so much about us this
She
episode.
said, "Let me tell you about my sex life."
Me and Colby, we have been delving in just the sex lifestyle and everything. And we have been practicing Dom sub kind of dynamics. It's kind of like iffy because we're not sure if we want to do a 24/7 or just like during play, which is when you're having fun sex. And so we're like, we don't know what to do. But I have submitted to him one time. That's a dynamic that you should do with somebody you trust wholly. Like, you got to know that they are not doing this maliciously. They're not doing this to harm you. They would never harm you if this is a good relation or like good dynamic. It's always about pleasure and safety. So,
Yeah, you're just saying you don't know if the full submissiveness that it's your preferred kink. Like, you can play around
right,
with it, but you don't
right.
think you want to be that consistently, like, all the time.
I feel like I do. Oh, no, I mean, I liked it after the fact. I liked knowing that I did something that was hard for me, but he got a lot of pleasure out of it.
Yeah.
There was something satisfying in that. I know that's a deep conversation. Maybe we could have a little micro peek episode about that.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a MICROPEEK episode, explicit ratings. If you
Explicit
guys want
rating.
to get into more tea talk with Miranda about fun sex
Sex.
topics.
Fun with sex.
Maybe
That's our
we
friend's
could
podcast.
collab with Fun with Sex for
Oh,
questions that we have at some point or something
that's a
like
good
that.
idea.
Or we
That's
could
a good
even, if we
idea.
choose like a really progressively like kinky book or something, we could have them on to like discuss like fun like kink topics or something like that,
Yeah.
or like something taboo, like something fun that they might have more insight about than us.
No, I love that idea, actually. That's a really great idea.
We'll discuss, we'll clap. Meanwhile, if you
Collab.
like hearing like fun topics about sex positivity and things like that, check out what Fun with Sex podcast.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Next thing I want to talk about in the book was the only part that did give me the ick in the book was when the estranged dad reappeared at the end and everything got so messy outside in the driveway. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
guess it's for the drama, but it was just so like sitcom because I was like, out of nowhere, this estranged dad comes back. He finds out everything. He's making a scene in front of everybody. The little sister calls Emerson, her ex-boyfriend's dad, and
Uh-huh.
then he brings his son and then they all have a powwow.
And a big old fight. It's very dramatic.
It
Yeah.
was very dramatic. I did not like that scene.
Really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was just weird. I was like two grown men that are your dad's age, like fighting. Oh, that would be really uncomfortable
It
for me.
it was very cringy. Did you read the end of the book? Like, the epilogue about the engagement or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah.
That I think was the cringiest part for me,
That was
honestly.
a crazy scene. I was like, "Oh my goodness." Like, I understand for them, and, like, it's great. Love that for them. I'm sure that it was magical and everything, but it
Yeah.
was
It was very cringe.
interesting.
So, like, she's, like, setting the scene. They've been together for, like,
A
over a
year.
year at this point. Like, he's reassured her millions of times throughout the book. Like, he's very, very open with her that, like, he loves her, he wants this, all the things. Because she had a lot of doubts throughout the book. Like, "I'm too young. I'm not experienced enough." Like, he's been with other women that know a lot more about this than me, and, like, he never once made her feel like anyway, that she wasn't worthy or whatever. But like at the very end in the epilogue, he's like acting strange all day, like trying to plan things for her or something. And she's in her head the entire time. She's like, he's going to break up with me. He hates me. I knew this wasn't going to work. Everything was going too well. Like, just really drama spiraling after being with someone for a year. And
That's me.
it was like, it felt very weird and like out of place. And then they end up going to the sex club and she's in the throne room where they had like a couple really spicy
Steamy.
scenes. Yeah. And
Mhm.
she's sitting on the chair, like the throne, and he like plops down and proposes to her in this like sex club throne room. And it just was very dramatic. And she's like, "Oh, he wasn't mad at me. He loves me."
And just also in the throne room, there's like this double way window mirror thing. So there's people watching them, like fuck essentially. And like
Yeah.
he was in the sub role that time. So she was the dom in that and telling him what to do and like everybody on the other side of the window was watching this whole thing. And then then he drops down and then they're like, "Oh,
And
woo,
then I think they
congrats."
also proceed into fucking after the proposal with the
Yep.
crowd
As his
watching, and the
fiance.
crowd goes wild.
Would you ever go to a sex club?
Yes, I would
Slay.
love to. I don't know what I would have to really ease in, like, I don't know how much I would participate in certain things, but of course, I would love to go. Be so fun.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like that
have gone.
Oh, really? I didn't know
See,
that.
yeah, well, so it's not like a clubby club like his. His club is, like, elite for sure.
Yeah.
Our clubs is more like a community of people who are like-minded, of, like, respecting relationships as they are, but also
Yeah.
knowing that we wanna have fun, and so those are the kinda clubs that we've gone to where we've, like, met new people and stuff, and I think that they are so fun, and I definitely would say if you're at a good sex club, you will not feel pressured to do anything that you don't wanna do, and
Yeah.
it's a really good learning environment and safe environment if it's done correctly, and it's just changed my whole perspective on sex, actually.
That's so awesome. I'm so glad you had that experience and nothing like skeevy or weird happened.
Yeah.
That would be that's I was going to say that would be my fear. Like I think if I ever went to one, I don't know what I would want to do, what I would feel comfortable doing. Like and I would love to just go see, experience, learn, like have a good time, stuff like that, and then whatever. But
Yeah.
I would never want to feel pressured into doing something just because you're there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I would hope that that would be the vibe. It's
Yeah.
like a good wholesome place. Wholesome.
Yeah, that's what I feel like they do have, like, our friends who throw their little parties, they have separate rooms where it's supposed to be just socialization. There's no play, there's no kissing, there's no flirting, none of that. If you want that, then you go to a whole separate space, which I think really helps keep it in a more beginner friendly dynamic, because then you can be
Yeah.
like, if you're not ready to see everything, maybe just stay here where everybody's like kind of just talking and mingling,
Yeah.
hanging out and stuff. The one thing that is hard though is mentally just trying to rewire everything that I've ever been brought to think about sex. So yeah, that's a whole nother conversation too, I think.
Religious trauma. Am I
Yeah, I was
right?
like, what do we want? Do we want books talks or do we want real talks? Because it can go. I think that's something that me and you do really good at, is have really deep conversations.
We do. I We're not even drinking today. This is
We're
all
not
natural.
all
All
natural.
natural discomfort.
Hey.
No,
Stay
I think we should
mindful.
definitely have like really fun talks with like certain books that we're reading. We can spice it up, we can dim it down, we can choose like different genres and just have really open talks and fun discussions
Yeah.
and still just be on the book theme. But like if you guys really liked something, really didn't like something that we're doing, anything like that, give us suggestions, give us feedback. We may listen or we may not.
Who's to say?
Who could know?
You guys, it's been real. Oh, wait, are we done or no? It
Shh.
sounded like you were wrapping things up. So
It sounded like you were wrapping things up.
after you sounded like you were wrapping things up.
I felt that you did it first, which is why I did, but we can wrap it up.
Much
My
discomfort.
I'm like pointing my ear at you.
You're
My
like,
fey
you did
ear.
it. You
You
did
did it
it.
first. So this was really casual, guys. Maybe we should
Yeah.
wrap it up. It's getting weird.
Now it's getting weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, this has been real. We'll figure out what we're going to do next time. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's not. Who's to say? But hope
Well,
to see you there.
yeah. Follow us on socials. Instagram at Plot Peak Podcast, TikTok at plot.peak, and share with us if you liked what we did, didn't like what we did, want to hear more of something, want to hear less of something. We do want you guys to enjoy what you're listening to. So let us know. Baby.
Bye.
Bye.